was going to ask you, like, have you ever had any of your guys, like, and maybe you too, have you ever had guys come to you and ask you how to overcome approach anxiety?
Yeah, all the time, of course.
With, like very.
Bro, you can
like,
make $1 million.
The better looking the girl is, the more anxiety.
Rolo, you could make $1 million in a year right now if you had a program to fix approach anxiety.
100%.
100. If you could fix that, of course. That's top. Got to be top 10 all time things that men ask us for sure.
I think the best answer I've ever heard was to talk to every old or ugly woman you see throughout your day. Like you come out of your apartment.
Hey man, don't tell Alex from Playing with Fire that he'll like fucking do a whole fucking video on you about Rolo said to go to get with fighters.
But seriously, like because being, I mean, you can either tell me this is true or not, Mike, because you've got more experience in this than I do, right? I don't teach guys how to talk to women. I teach them how to fuck them, right? Totally different skill set. But it's a muscle, right? And it resets every day. And like the more social you are in general, the better you are with.
Okay,
networking is an evolutionary adaptation.
I got a question for the ladies here. What is one thing? What quality about a guy, if he's coming to you and he's approaching you, what sets off the creepy vibe for you? What sets off the creep detector? That would be you're like, whoa.
Your eyes.
Eyes. Why? Like what's like how so? Like, describe that.
I would look stupid trying to mimic it, but like the
Do it.
Oh yeah, that one sucks.
Ooh.
Like you can't you can't
looking
you're like,
away.
you want to look at my tits, but you want to look at my eyes, but you want to look at my tits. Kind of like I've been doing to her all day. I've been like trying to still look at her.
No, yeah.
But like in a creepy way, in a like I want to devour you, not sexy way. Okay. And it's sort of approach.
I have a purpose for this, but can you name a quote other than the eye? That's actually pretty good, actually.
Yeah, that is true.
What creeps you out about a guy? If he's coming to you and like say, hey, I want to
probably the wrong person to ask, because I don't like being like flirted with or any games spit at me at all. Yeah. Like my last few long relationships, like they literally could have cared less. We what's the word, bonded or had things in common.
You had common friends.
Yeah, and it started as a friendship. That's how I work. I'm not like most women, though. I don't like being hit on. If you come up, hey, let me buy you a drink, you're beautiful, I'm like, literally get the fuck away from me.
Yeah, me too.
If like, literally, I can't do it. If you have any kind of game or you come off like a player or you like you're cocky, like I'm very masculine, so I'm just like, bro, I got all the game that you have.
Times 10.
What if a guy, okay, so if you meet a guy and you're kind of into him, what could he do that would like set off the creep vibe? He gets past the like initial stages of like approaching you and hanging out with you, and you're like, oh, maybe this guy's good, and then you go, whoa, wait a minute.
When you're not responding or you're giving polite answers because you don't want to be a dick, but you're not really solidifying plans and they don't take hints. That's the biggest thing, when you don't see the hints, when you aren't taking the signs that I'm trying to friend zone you,
just get it.
Or that I just need time or I need space or I'm not ready
Walk
yet.
Away.
If you aren't hearing,
keep going.
You're just being polite.
Right, or even if I maybe could be interested in the guy, but I'm just pessimistic or a man hater and I'm not there yet, read the vibes. If you're not picking up the vibes, it's such a turn off to me. But if you like, all right, I see your game, let me leave you be. Like that's actually more of a turn off for me. It's not taking the hints.
There's a book, by the way, before we go on. There's a book by Jeffrey Wilson and Tucker Max called Mate that goes over this exact thing. Jeffrey Miller and Tucker Max called Mate that goes over this exact topic, what you just said right there. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, because you've got more experience in this. Do you think it's more common for guys to not see the signs at all? Let's say they go up and talk to a woman and she's just trying to be polite, right, to not be offensive, right? Do you think it's more common for guys to not see the signs, or is it more common for guys to think that every girl is not interested in them at all and not see like the positive?
That's great. There's a book called The Evolution of Desire by Dr. David Buss, and they do a survey exactly on this thing. And what happened was there was Safeway. You remember the show? I don't know if you have a Safeway in Australia. You guys have all been to Safeway. The way it worked is they had a program where they stated everybody would say, "Hey, Mr. Smith, thanks for shopping at Safeway." The cashiers would, whenever they would close people out. So when men said it to other men, "Thank you, Mr. Smith, for coming to Safeway," no fucking problem. When men said it to women, "Thank you, Mrs. Smith, for coming to Safeway," no fucking problem. When women said it to women, "Thank you, Mrs. Smith, for coming to Safeway," no fucking problem. When female cashiers said to male patrons, "Thank you, Mr. Smith, for coming to Safeway," these dudes would follow them out to the fucking parking lot, wait for them to get off work, start stalking them, all kinds of stuff. No. From an evolutionary standpoint, average, middle-of-the-road males, which, by the way, most males are not alpha males, those guys would, in every instance, miscommunicate every instance for a sexual advance. It gets even crazier than this. They have these two people, and they're in a photograph, and they're studying together, a man and a woman. They have neutral expressions on their face. They ask the men, what percentage of these men believe that the woman was sexually interested in the man? It was like 63%. They asked the woman, what percent of these of you guys think that this woman is sexually interested in the man? It was like 17%, right? They gave the woman bigger breasts, put makeup on her, gave her longer hair. Ask the men again, what percentage of you think she's sexually interested? It got up to like 89%. They asked women, what percent of you think she's sexually interested? It stayed at 17. Men not only misinterpret everything a woman does for a sexual advance, the more attractive she is, the more they misinterpret. Do you guys understand?
Because sometimes they have to err on the side of interest.
Sometimes existing and just being pretty, a man mistakes that for a sign that you want to have sex with him. That's how crazy it is.
If you approach me and I'm with a girlfriend and I tell you I'm with her, this is my girlfriend, my girlfriend, not like my buddy, my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, but I can do both of you. And you're not getting the hint that I'm telling you to back off. And I say, no, we're good. And you continue. That's not you not taking the hint.
Yeah.
That's not you.
No, I agree with you.
Too dumb to understand. You're just disrespectful.
Hey, we need to get you an MOA affiliate code.
And Tom.
Laura,
you can make some money off that guy.
Laura,
like, you know what? You're not
getting
the hint. MOA.com. MOA
Take my card. I know somebody.
Take my card.
Laura, what can a guy do to creep you out?
Honestly, I get pissed off anytime a guy approaches me in public, and I have to like try really fucking hard to put on a nice face. And I'm so polite and cordial, and I give very clear hints. And then just the continuous talking.
So not taking
a hint, and this weird voice that they do.
Really?
This feels like pickup from the opposite point of view, doesn't it? You guys in the back, doesn't this feel like she's describing cold approach pickup, but from the opposite standpoint? I'm
gonna go somewhere with this, but go ahead.
What's his voice? I want to know what's
the voice. What's it sound like?
It's like they try to baby talk you. It's like baby talk.
I don't know
almost.
how to describe it, but I'm sure
it's low testosterone. That's what it is.
It's like talking to your pet. It's like talking to your dog or your cat.
Hey, you guys want to go get a drink with me?
I've heard guys literally try to lower their voice.
And that too.
And you hear them. You just heard them talking with their friend, and then they talk to you, and they're like, "Oh, hey," and I'm like, "What?"
There's two.
You didn't just sound like that 5 seconds ago.
But you can tell that it's a different type of voice that they're doing, and that's very obvious. It's sometimes it's high and it's condescending, and other times it's like low and slow and trying to. But it's either or. But it's either the weird voice happens very often.
Amber, what can a guy do? Amber, what's the number one thing that freaks you out if a guy's like creepy? Like he just sets off the creep trigger.
So, I am like very socially awkward. I do not like being touched. If you like the guys that do the lower back touch,
bro, hold on, guys, hold on. Can I point this out? Can I point this out?
Yeah.
15 fucking years of Kino escalation products that motherfuckers have been selling online for forever. 15 years. What? Sitting there telling us about these Kino No, motherfucker. If you just have a person introduce you to this girl, you are 100,000 times more likely to get with her than if you go up and do cold approach and start touching her on the back like Roberto said on Roberto video.
You are not Joe Biden.
First way to get sued and a sexual harassment.
Bro, I'm telling you, men have bought millions of dollars of Kino escalation products.
You did not put your hand on me.
Kylie, what freaks you out? What makes a guy a creep?
So, I'm currently a bartender where I'm the only girl like that. Like on my shifts, I'm the only girl that bartends. So, I've seen all kinds of like really weird, like just the weirdest shit. But you know what? Like the one thing that just really bugs me, I'm like, what? Like what? You know, is when they'll just stare at you and like just watch you.
But they don't.
You see them like they'll just move their head with you, like, and I'm like. What, motherfucker? Like, do I have something like on me? Like, what? No. Fix it. What's up? What's going on?
It's worse when they stare at you, and then like in your mind you're like, okay, I'll play the game. I'm gonna stare at you too and make you uncomfortable, and then they don't get uncomfortable, and then they're like, they think that it's an. They like it.
Amber Rose likes me.
And then now make eye contact. But then it's like now I can't break eye contact because now I can't lose. So now we're just fucking staring at each other, and then I'm just like,
then he thinks I'm shy.
You know something else I've seen too, though, that's kind of weird. I don't know if y'all have ever experienced this, but they'll like start to talk to you about like just they'll pick up on something that is that y'all like or that y'all are like fond of, and they're like, I'm about to start doing this, like I'm about to start going to the gym a lot because you're fit or whatever, and I'm like,
oh yeah, that's obnoxious.
Good job.
No,
Go to the gym. Like, what?
I play with my hair a lot, and I have so many men. One time when I was actually bartending, I had them like, let me sit you down, line you up, because each one of you is going to say the same thing to me. Watch this happen. They come up to me, think they're fucking psychologists, and say, what are you nervous about? Huh? What are you nervous about?
Like,
You're nervous about something.
weird.
Yeah, they're like, I see. Are you okay? Like, and every single time, and I just always fidget. I always play with my hair. Sometimes I'm zoned out. I'm not nervous about shit.
This is you. You're like, I actually am waiting for you to say something fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find a way out of it.
It's so common.
All right, hold on. Sterling, Mike, have you ever felt creeped out by a guy? And I don't mean like in a sexual way or coming on to, but like felt, so this guy's like off, there's creep vibe. Have you, and what is it about that guy that made you feel like he was kind of creepy?
Well, I've had this experience in a couple of the conferences we've done, right? Where
there's something
we're guest
off
speakers
about
and we're
this
talking
guy.
at a conference, and there's a bunch of guys there who knows us from my YouTube or whatever, and they're there to get advice. And you sit there, and some dude will come up to you, and he'll just sit there and like stare at you.
It's weird.
And he'll maybe ask you, he'll ask you a question. You answer his question, and he won't leave.
Yeah.
He'll just stay around awkwardly with
Staring.
awkward eye contact.
Welcome to what it's like to be a woman.
Totally.
And then sometimes they get aggressive and they put their hands on you.
Amber, hold that thought. Go ahead, give me
Yeah,
what your creep
so
is.
having a bunch of clients, it's one of the things I point out to them. I'm like, hey man, just want to let you know I asked you a question and now you're fucking looking at me. And then because on my calls one of the things we do different. There's sometimes 99 guys on the call.
You're trying to teach social skills.
And a guy will sit there. One of the things I make all my guys do is we got to get proper lighting. You need to have your Zoom thing set up so like maybe you're going to do an interview, and then you have to ask me questions while the camera's sitting still. You'd be shocked how hard it is for most guys to figure this out. When they go and they ask me these questions, and then they just sit there and I give them a response, and they just kind of look like this, and I'm like, bro, do you understand? There's a give and take, and you're just in your own mind, and you'll see this a lot of time with people who are autistic. They're just in their own mind. Yeah. They'll sit there and they'll start a conversation with you. They'll use a bunch of pronouns, and they'll be 75% away through the conversation, and you're like, bro, what are you talking about?
Where
and
is this going?
They're referencing a thing that you made in a video 4 years ago that they think you remember because that's how their autistic brain works, because they're so socially uncalibrated.
You'll fill in the blanks for them.
And one of the problems is a lot of these guys are very intelligent. So what they think is my massive intelligence will make up for the fact that I'm socially uncalibrated, when they don't realize that to be cool in a place full of beautiful women, in just a place where you're having fun with a group of people, in order to do that, you have to dumb it down.
Bingo.
And when you tell them that they have to dumb it down, bro, they don't believe. They think, no, my intellect will make these women become attracted to me, and it's not the case. When you tell the story, you have to give context to the story, and it's so hard for some of these dudes to understand that concept.
I want to give an example. So my best friend in the world, right? So I met him, about 20 years ago. Am I 35? No, sorry, 15 years ago. Yeah, like 20, 22, something like that, right? And it was through the PUA scene.
Yeah.
Right? And he was exactly like you just described. He was like a physics major, short guy, super autistic. And I remember we went out to the club one night, me, him, and another friend, and we'd go out and talk to chicks, whatever. We'd come back, and he would be standing in front of me the whole night, just staring at me and my friend. The whole night, just staring at us.
Sounds sociopathic.
Super, but he's just it was just autistic.
No.
Autistic.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say.
And we both had a private chat, like, yo, is so and so just staring at us? I'm like, yeah. We had to sit him down and be like, yo, bro, it's creepy what you're doing. But he didn't know that.
He didn't understand.
He didn't know that. He didn't understand.
He didn't pick up on the social cues.
But now, this is like 15 years later.
He's getting pussy.
He's a lady killer.
Okay.
Absolute lady killer.
Because he learned the skills.
He's learned the skills. It's a skill set that every man can learn. They actually can learn it, and it doesn't even take that long.
And I'll tell you, and I'll
push it.
That's a good place to stop here. Now, all the ladies, when I asked you about what makes a guy feel creepy to you, here's my track with me here. Women have a different gendered concept of creepiness than guys have a concept of creepiness. Like when a guy creeps me out, it's like the homeless guy on the street who's talking to himself really, really loud or something. Or it's like maybe it's like somebody who just is not quite there. It's fine. I've got better at it over the years. Talking to people who have on the spectrum, right? That it's just by order of degree, just little incremental things like there. I think this is actually evolutionarily true. Is we have this innate understanding of how a human being ought to fucking behave. So if a guy is drunk, you can tell the dude is drunk. Like after a while, I mean, you don't have to go smell him. You can just say he's slurring his speech. He's kind of like he's lost his shit. You can kind of figure out from behavior that he's drunk. The same thing applies to creepiness. However, women have a different sense, and I think probably a greater sensitivity to creepiness, because creepiness it's an infraction on their on their sexual strategy, right? You don't want to get with the guy who's a potential rapist. You don't want to get with the guy who could potentially kill him.
The danger zone.
I'm not worried about the guy talking to himself on 4th Street in Reno is going to kill me, because I can probably kick his ass, right? Women aren't that way, right? So I think women have a much more refined sense of creepiness, because they don't want to carry the child of a guy who's mentally weird or mentally off balance, is not getting it, doesn't get the cues, has the stare, has the voice, has the vocal intonations, all that other stuff. They're picking up on really, really nuanced shit, whereas we're like, yeah, well, if the guy's staring at me and he's like, looks like he's, he looks like Jeffrey Dahmer, then you get creeped out by that. Guys get creeped out by like serial killer vibes, whereas like women get creeped out by the guy who just does this. Right? That's enough to go fucking A, call the fucking cops, right? And the problem I think most guys have right now, and I'll be in the chat here, problem is when they have to learn this shit, it's literally, in some cases, a matter of life or death, because they're criminalizing the idea of the deficit of actually having the social skills not to give off the creep vibes.